back to Red Bull Battlegrounds. It's time for our third and fourth place matchup. It is going to be Stefano taking on Squirtle.
And without further ado, they are ready on the main stage for an interview. Go ahead and give a round of applause for them, guys. And Sean?
Thanks so much, guys. I have Stefano and Squirtle up on the main stage who have played amazing tournaments. And though they won't get the chance at the first place prize, they still can battle it out for that $5,500 third, fourth place match. I want to begin, Stefano, with you. You played an incredibly close series against MC, and now you're going up against Squirtle. Are you adjusting your play at all going into this third, fourth place match?
Well, obviously it will be a different match and play style from both of the players, between MC and Squirtle, I mean. So I will have to adapt a bit and change the way I played against MC. The way I played against MC was very specific. I never played this way, just try to hard counter him. And now I try to surprise Squirtle.
So I know that you've had a long history playing many matches against MC, but Squirtle hasn't been outside of Korea nearly as many times. Have you had the chance to study his play or even experimented against him directly?
When I was in Korea 5 months ago, I met him on the ladder and he destroyed me 7-0. And well, it was a long time ago, but it's still true. Since then we didn't really meet. I don't really know how he plays. Well, a bit like Hero, I was told, but nothing else. So I will just use the first game to learn from him.
And of course, since this is going to be your last match played, do you have anything you'd like to say to all your loyal fans who have come out here to Austin, Texas today?
Well, first of all, thanks for supporting me. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry if I disappointed by not reaching the finals. I know. And of course, thanks to my team who sent me here, Ichi who accepted me in their house, and to my sponsor MSI, CD Discount, and Max.
Well, best of luck, Stefano. Your opponent will be none other than Startail Squirtle himself. Squirtle, you played an incredible tournament. Though Bomber knocked you down, you are now up against Stefano, who just played an incredibly close series against MC. Do you think that you have what it takes to edge him out in a best of 5?
스테파노 선수가 방금 전에 MC와 그 경기 있으면서 3대2로 되게 간신히 졌잖아요. 그래도 자신 있는지?
지성이 형한테 지긴 했지만 저그전은 자신 있기 때문에 자신 있어.
It's true. I did just lose to Bomber, but honestly, I'm really confident in my PVZ, so I'm confident.
And of course, I want to pose the same question to you, Squirtle. Again, you have so many fans out here in Austin, Texas today who cheered you on at IPL and GSL. Anything you'd like to say to them today?
되게 많은 팬들이 스쿼럴 선수를 IPL에서도 되게 응원해주고 GSL에서도 되게 응원해주고 지금도 많이 와 있는데 그 팬들에게 좀 하고 싶은 말이 있는지.
결승전엔 가지 못했지만 이번에 스테파노 선수랑 되게 재밌는 경기에서 보답하고 싶어요.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to the finals, but I'll try to repay that to you guys by showing really good games against Stefano.
Thank you so much, Squirtle, Stefano. We hope you guys have great games. Best of luck to both of you. And let's see a mothership. Back to you, DJ Wheat and Husky at the main desk.
Thank you very much, Sean. Yes, the third place and fourth place matchups or players will be determined here with this particular match. We are going to be going on to Metropolis as the first one. But you know what, Husky? I've got a little bit of trivia for you first.
Uh-oh, I'm horrible at tests.
Oh, really? All right. I think you might be able to pass this one.
Okay.
Husky, can you tell me the evolved forms of Squirtle?
There's Wartortle, Blastoise, and then that guy right over there.
I'd have to say that was correct. Well done. See, you passed that one.
My nerd cred. Still got the nerd cred.
So yes, we've got, of course, Squirtle versus Stefano coming up here, and I got a chance to watch the Squirtle Bomber match right up there on the second floor balcony, which, by the way, phenomenal seats. Awesome. But I was very surprised that, that it was a 3-0.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people were saying backstage as well, is they were completely like, wait, what? It was a 3-0?
Yeah.
I mean, it could have I wouldn't say easily, but a lot of people were predicting that perhaps it was going to be a 3-0 the other way. And, you know, in casting some of Squirtle's games, that's something I've actually seen happen before, where it's a series where you think he's going to do amazing, and then he just falls completely flat. And then he goes into a tournament in an open bracket and just tears all the way through it. That is what we saw here today, of course. But now for the third place match, he's going to have a very difficult opponent here, but I feel like both of them are so confident in their ZVP matchup. He even said it in the interview, like, you know, I'm very confident here, and everyone knows that Stefano loves crushing Protoss skulls, so he should be feeling pretty confident too.
Well, and it's so crazy because we've seen both sides of the spectrum, right? We saw Stefano just completely manhandles parting in the initial match, and then we just saw kind of the opposite, the long game, really a tried and true PVZ matchup between MC and Stefano, of course, putting MC into the grand finals, but it's just surprising that we've seen the full spectrum of potential play. Yes, big shout out to Suli.
Oh, no kidding, man. One of the best translators out there for sure. And it does look like they are both in the game already. Having these additional booths is super handy because they can get in there and get set up. I think they're just going to mess around with one last setting in there. But you did mention the first map is Metropolis.
Yes.
So once that gets underway, of course, the loser is going to be able to pick whichever map they want. And also, I do want to mention that Bomber has been yawning all day today, so I don't know if he's actually tired or if he's just nervous or what, but I'm kind of curious if that played a role in his 3-0 defeat.
I don't know. You mean Squirtle? Or
oh, sorry. Yeah,
Squirtle.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Well, I mean, both of them, obviously, it's been a long day, long 2 days, a lot of competition, and you know, I don't know. Either way, they both seem very confident. I mean, Stefano, I think that he'd really like to grab that third place. Obviously, a little bit disappointed. He wanted to capture that grand final and that first place prize. But I'll tell you what, I mean, even though it's going to be coming up next, there's got to be a ton of MC fans that are happy to see him in the grand final here for the Red Bull Battlegrounds.
And in going to a lot of the events out there, DJ Wheat, there's a lot of MC fans, man. Every single event, there's always tons of people cheering for him. But Stefano as well. I mean, this has been an extremely good last year for him. I mean, you know, just including parts of 2011 as well, just able to win so many tournaments that he went from, I wouldn't say nobody, but definitely not having that many fans carrying over from Warcraft 3 to all of a sudden, I mean, he's a rock star. He's winning so many events, doing so well, and he deserves every single fan he gets.
You know, honestly, you say that he was kind of a nobody and you don't, you know, it's kind of has a negative connotation to it, but I kind of agree with you. I mean, he just sort of just came on the scene, just blasted onto the scene, and look at the results that he's been able to post ever since. So let's go ahead and introduce our players over here on the west side of the map as the Blue Protoss. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Startail Squirtle.
And in the center right side, getting so close to being in the grand finals, dropping just the one important game to finally seal the deal. If you're a fan of No Shoes, give a cheer for Stefano.
Definitely Stefano having the crowd behind him. Squirtle, also a bunch of fans out there. But, you know, Stefano, he has played really well. He came out of his group yesterday completely unscathed. And, I mean, I thought that this matchup here could have potentially been the finals. I'm a little shocked that this is the third, fourth place matchup, but it just goes to show how brutal the competition has been here.
Yeah, and MC versus Stefano could have easily been a final match as well, and they just showed that they are equally matched. I mean, taking it down to that very last game. Squirtle, though, is saying that he's feeling confident even after that 0-3 defeat, like we've mentioned. You know, PVZ is completely different. Maybe if he had to play another PVT, he's like, oh, so far I've won none of the PVTs today. But going up against Zerg, it's a completely different game. We saw him go for, you know, that double gas before Cybernetics Core. Well, you don't do that versus Zerg. That just does not quite work out. It does look like, though, he is going to be doing an expansion first build here. We did see MC go for the Forge first, I think, in every single game when he was playing versus Stefano, but going to get the Nexus up here much earlier than that.
Yeah, and he's also going to have just enough time to drop a pylon if he wants, but if he can just delay it with the probe alone, almost gets it right there. Trying to get that down and not really making any effort to go to the third at all. We see a lot of Zerg players send the 2 drones out there, not only combat the drone, but also just to go to the third if need be. And this is something similar to what happened in one of the games versus MC. And there, Stefano finally gets it down. That probe did the dance, and eventually it was Stefano that walked away the victor.
Yeah, now he didn't have to spend any minerals on that pylon, so he kind of got a little bit best of the both worlds there, where he did delay it quite heavily, but also didn't have to invest any upfront resources. And even if you do plan to cancel that pylon, it can still delay your structures by quite a great deal, because you have to initially invest that 100 resources. We do see the Zerglings now out on the field, which is to be completely expected. They're going to start looking around for that probe, wants to make sure he doesn't drop any crazy pylons, but Stefano isn't able to see exactly where that probe is at. But we've seen this, DJ Wheat, in every game that Stefano played. He takes an early third, sends those 2 Zerglings around to scout for the probe, leaves one of them by the third base to make sure there's no pylon getting set up, and it basically caught MC every time he was trying to hide pylons, and that's what we see here in this game as well.
You know, one other thing that Squirtle said this weekend that definitely resonates in my mind is the fact that he says that he loves the mothership. And you know what? If these games do go to that late game, the mothership can be an equalizer in a PvZ matchup, and I would not be surprised to see us actually take these games all the way to the end. But at the same token, you know, MC seemed to have a formula for success versus Stefano as well, and a lot of that did involve that early aggression and really trying to power his way through. So which way will Squirtle actually decide to go? You know, we're going to be finding out very soon here, as we've just passed the 5-minute mark, and we're starting to see these 2 guys' build take shape.
And you do mention the mothership. That's something that's almost a necessity now in late game PvZ. I mean, if you're going equal footing versus a Zerg player, if you're way ahead, you don't necessarily need one, but at some point you're going to have to deal with the Broodlords. I mean, more times than not, by far, you're going to be seeing Broodlords instead of Ultralisks. The reason that is because Stalkers and Immortals do insane damage versus the Ultras. They're just not that great against Protoss, and the Broodlords, though, can, while they don't have mobility, they have the range, which is the gap that Protoss has a difficult time closing. That's why you see the Vortex used very heavily. And, you know, in the playstyles we saw from Squirtle in that last series, he was always aiming either for a mid-game attack or even just a long-game play. And that's why, you know, so far we have not a whole lot happening as far as attacks go. We've seen 1 scouting worker get taken out, but other than that, both these players are able to play their game out however it is they want. Stefano getting up that third base, and we've also seen Stefano in neither of his games. I know I draw attention to this quite heavily, but it's so important. He does not make a lot of queens. Instead, prefers just making more drones and more units.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many Zerg players that have different philosophies as far as that's concerned. Some people are making these queens early on, specifically for the late game, just so they have queens that are not only spraying the creep, but are ready for transfuses when it comes to that point. But Stefano has been pretty stern about only getting it when it would benefit him to actually spread additional creep, or if he does think that there's some aggression that he might need to deal with early on. But this whole new trend of going with the 4 or 5 queens early on is just something that Stefano's not really that keen on. So let's just take a look at what we've got going on. Notice that there is still quite a bit of chrono boost on both of these Nexus over here. He has been spending it a little bit on the Forge here, and also just getting probes out at his natural. Meanwhile, we've already got a Warp Prism coming out here, and we've seen Squirtle like this type of play before, going to the main, get the sentries in there, a force field at the ramp, and try to do a ton of damage on that drone line.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great build to go ahead and try that. He's going to have to watch out for these Spore Crawlers, and also Stefano, I mean, if he does indeed go up against the Sentry play here, I mean, I feel like if there's any player who's going to hold this off, it will be Stefano. We've seen Squirtle actually attempt this, I believe it was Squirtle anyways, attempting this at around the 15 to 16 minute mark in a different game, but you know, this time it's going to be much earlier. He's relying on this early attack to do some damage, and he absolutely cannot lose the Sentries or the Warp Prism. And the reason that this drop is not super high risk is because the only anti-air at this point is going to be Queens, and they're pretty easy to outrun.
Oh, now this Warp Prism was actually going in a great direction to avoid this Overlord, but he's going to drop it close to the ramp. Some Link's trying to get up there. Is he going to get the force field off? The feelings do get in, but look at this. We've got the Roaches already there in defense. They did come out of this lair, and he was ready for that. So, of course, that is going to be thwarted, but a bunch of Zealots being warped in the north and now going over to the third.
Man, Stefano says, I am not impressed. He's going to be holding this off with such ease. I don't even know if he's going to lose that queen. He very well may, and it does go down, but at the cost of 3 Zealots. Not really worth it, although killing the second queen, that's a good start. He's getting a little bit of momentum here now as he is denying mining at this expansion, being so frustrating with these units. I would say he needs to do a little bit more damage here to actually pull ahead in these scenarios, although right now, a complete supply block from Stefano and no Overlord starting 6 at a time, showing you just how far behind he got on that Overlord production.
And that probably means he's going to be pumping out a lot of units, though, as well. And, well, Stefano wishes that he would have built a few more queens after that little attack. And he didn't lose anything at all. So really it was the cost of the Warp Prism. He still retains those sentries and the one stalker that he had out there. And now it looks like the rocks have been taken down. A third base about to be started here for Squirtle. But we have a lot of Lings coming in, and Hit can easily take care of this group of Immortals and Sentries.
What are you guys doing? He can't hang out there with those Zerglings on the way. And you got to remember that they're not very good without the force fields. And he kills that with no cancel, I believe, and it does look like he is going to go ahead and get a surround now for, can he kill the sentries as well? That would be huge. Stefano immediately getting back in this game.
Yeah, huge. He's already lost one Immortal, going to lose the second one as well. So many sentries went down, and although I was surprised he didn't go after that right away, it definitely paid off for him. He delayed that third, in fact, forced, well, I guess he didn't cancel it, so it was a big, big win there for Stefano, and now we have him rebuilding that, so it is delayed a bit, but the Warp Prism play is not done quite yet here for Squirtle up in the northwest. He's got another Warp Prism. He sees that that fourth base is up, but there's no drones there, so there's not a whole lot that he can do.
We are going to be having Templar Tech as well as the Robotics Bay here. And right now, I mean, it looks like Squirtle is going to have to go for that third base. I mean, he's trying to get these higher tech units because right now it looks like Stefano is going to be having a lot of roaches, a lot of lings, but on the back of that, he also has tech. He has the 2-2 on the way. He has the Infestors on the way as well. And on the back of that is going to be a Spire. So he has many options here moving forward. And I feel like if Squirtle was to move out right now, Stefano could either have Fungal Growths ready in time or could begin even working on Mutalisks, which we don't see him use all that much in this matchup. And once again, these units in the center of the map, saved by the force fields, but he does decide to continue forward, being very risky here because we've already seen him lose a couple of these Immortals.
Another Warp Prism harass coming out here by Squirtle, something he's very, very good at. He's not going to be able to force a cancel of that fourth base. And look at these Lings on the run. They're going to get a surround on both of these Immortals. Actually, one Immortal helped out by those force fields, but the Lings should be able to clean everything up here. And another hefty loss for Squirtle.
Yeah, hefty indeed. I mean, almost at this point, what is he supposed to do? He keeps making Immortals and Zealots, but he keeps losing the sentries that he originally made as well as the initial Immortals. I'm not sure why he's making so many Immortals. There's only 12 roaches on the field, so I think he has a bad read on what Stefano is actually going for because this is going to be 5 or 6 Immortals he's made in the game, which is complete overkill here. And he does have an observer here spotting that, hey, it is a lot of Zerglings, it's a lot of Infestors as well, but DJ Weed on the back of that, he's also getting Hive Tech and a second Spire. We talked about Broodlords, how good they are in PvZ, and that's exactly what Stefano's gearing up for. Yeah,
of course, the second Spire really helping out with those upgrades, and we do have a ton of units idle here in the main for Stefano, but his group is primarily a composition of Lings, a few Roaches peppered in there, and of course the Infestors as well. Warp Prism over here with 4 Zealots. Is he going to be able to do some harassment? We do see that hatchery is down to about 70% or so, but he's got units just distributed all over, and Stefano's looking like he can defensively hold just about anything that Squirtle might be able to throw his way.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of exactly what Squirtle can do here, and I think just higher tech units are going to be the answer. He mentioned the Mothership. He does have that Stargate on the way, so he could quickly throw down that fleet beacon, but there is nothing quick about Motherships. They take forever to build. They're slow as dirt, and I don't even know if he's going to be able to get that out in time because Broodlords could be out pretty soon here. There goes down that fleet beacon. The Hive Tech is indeed done, and that means the +3 attack, 3 armor, as well as the Adrenal Glands upgrade are going to be on the way. And this army, once again, Bay gets surrounded here. Stefano is going to take out yet another Immortal.
Oh, yeah, and all these Zealots as well with the Roaches coming in from the back. Finally, a Storm dropped down, but it doesn't even matter. These Lings are completely fine, taking a little bit of damage. More Zealots going to be warped in here, but it looks like everything has pretty much been taken out at this point. I mean, I just don't even see why Stefano could rally a ton of roaches over and finish this one off. The supply is 166 to 106 right now, and this third is absolutely going to be in danger, but there's not much of a ground army for Stefano. He needs to rally a bunch more units over here, and we have a ton of Lings on the way. That Adrenal Lance is about 50% done, and right now the upgrades on those Lings are 2-2, and he's got 3-3 on the way.
You know, Stefano did rally those Infestors down, and those could have got taken out there, I think, by Squirtle, but, you know, he really wants to defend this third base. He's going to be dumping basically all of his Chrono Boost into trying to get out this Mothership. He knows really his only option here is going to be the Vortex with some Archons inside of it, trying to kill everything very quickly. And with the Broodlord tech on the way, I mean, that's going to be the Protoss's best bet, not only if you're on even footing, but also if you're behind, trying to be cost-effective with Storms, as well as those Archons. But man, DJ Wheat, he is not in a good spot. Looking like he's trying to secure a fourth here, but it's going to be tough.
We have a Storm Drop coming out here from Startail Squirtle as he is coming over, and he might get, no, they should be able to escape there from that Spore Crawler. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do a ton of damage, and now the Lings scooping in to the fourth base. They are going to have to go ahead and get out of there. They see the rocks are not down, and these Lings will get cleaned up. But honestly, that's just free supply for Stefano.
Oh yeah, I mean, those Lings have definitely paid for themselves. He's been so cost-effective up until this point with those Zerglings. He could afford to throw away, it almost feels like 100 more, because he's going to be able to expand wherever he wants. He's got his Roaches going. He's got good upgrades, 2 armor on the Roaches. Plus, he's also doing double air upgrades, which is something that you're in a good spot as Zerg if you're going for double air.
Yeah, it usually means you've got money to spend, and you've been winning most of the battles, and now we have a bunch of Roaches heading down. Do we have the Broodlords morphing in? Yes, there are 8 being morphed in right now, but these Roaches are going to go out and do some damage before the Broodlords even get the opportunity to. Now, keep in mind, these Roaches do not have any missile upgrades, but they do have the +2 carapace, and oh, he could go ahead and take out this Forge, and that will be shields going down, but he'll be able to get his way in here and might be able to do some damage inside the main.
The multi-pronged Roach attacks, we've seen it time and time again at this tournament. He is attacking all locations. Every single base has units inside of it right now, DJ Wheat. His multitasking is going to be huge. We've seen Stefano do this time and time again, working on killing down these probes as best as he possibly can, kind of ignoring the army. Both these players are forced to multitask like crazy here as Stefano trying to do the damage he needs, but really he's just going to be buying himself a little bit more time. It does look like one of the hatcheries has been taken out in all this chaos. Can he actually hold off here and get back in this game?
Yeah, that northern hatchery was eliminated. However, I think he was pretty much just using it for gas at this point. As you can see, both the geysers are there, and he pulled everything back. He doesn't even have that much, well, he does have quite a few long distance mining, I guess. So now the supplies are 164 to 152, 6 more Corruptors on the way. And where are those Broodlords? Just outside the third, sitting in the middle, and I mean, just waiting for any sort of attack that might come his way. But the creep isn't that far out. He's definitely going to want to start moving out, but I feel like he wants to have a solid and comfortable composition before he does just that.
Well, you also have to remember here that he did not upgrade the missile, so the fact that he sacrificed those Roaches, I mean, it's not totally a big blunder or anything like that, because he is more focused on the Broodlings.
Right.
The Broodlings now have 3 upgrades. The air units have 2-1 with 3-2 on the way, 6 more Broodlords on the way. So you mentioned freeing up some supply. That's exactly what he's going to be doing here in this game. And I don't even want to know what his Broodlord count is at. It is at 19.
Yikes.
With even 2 more on the way. I don't know how you're supposed to stop that, although Stefano has to make sure that he doesn't allow his opponent to get too many Void Rays, because he needs to make sure he does have anti-air, but he's got like the entire map split in half with Broodlords.
Yes, there are also a ton of High Templar in this army for Squirtle as well. He's got several Archons. He's building more and more energy on that Mothership. Eventually, he'll be able to throw down 2 Vortexes, so the splitting and how these units are grouped for Stefano will absolutely come into play. And look at that, +3 flyer attacks already coming down. That really shows the power of having 2 Spires in order to be able to pump out those upgrades. We also have Neural Parasite come out, which we've seen been one of the ways that Zergs have been able to combat that Mothership by basically saying, well, your unit, now my unit, and using not only the cloaking capabilities of it, but even in some cases dropping a Vortex of his own.
Oh, DJ Wheat, take a look in the Protoss main. We have 5 Stargates on the way.
Wow.
We have Graviton Catapult. He is going to be making the most ancient, never-before-seen unit, the Carrier. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, now the question, Husky, is will he be able to hold on? He's moved himself so far forward, and he knows that he has some mobility.
Is he going to recall
oh my gosh.
Is he going to do a recall?
Gosh, he
does. He's now in the main base. He decides to go for it. He says, you know what, I have the carrier tech lined up. I want to start making these carriers, so let's do this. Now, right now, DJ, he could actually move this mothership back a little bit and mass recall out of this base when he needs to. And I think at some point he is going to need to, but he decides to go for the Vortex. Did he suck in enough of those? I don't think that he did. Remember, there's 21 of these Broodlords. These ones are just patiently waiting. They're like, no, go ahead and step over here. I dare you. I do think the Hive Tech may get taken out here. We do have a random Overlord upgrade going down. Infested Terrans, the Broodlords are taking a lot of damage from the Archon. He is going to get more than I originally anticipated. 175 supply to 184. He is now going to go all in right here with all these units. That's a lot of Broodlings. He's trying to take out the mothership right now. It does go down. These units have revealed themselves, and he does have Blink, so he could potentially escape here, but at some point he may end up losing all these Stalkers.
Oh yeah, I think that's absolutely going to be it. Now the question is will he be able to come back from a supply that is essentially 116? Well, there are 5 carriers in production right now, and he's still going to need some sort of a ground army. I mean, can he actually convert to just an all-air army at this point? I don't know.
I don't know, DJ Wheat, but there's not that many Corruptors. There are 6 more on the way, and I don't know if Stefano realizes. Oh, looks like the Warp Prism may get taken out. Nope, still keeping it alive, keeping that Warp Prism for quite a long time here, but I don't know if Stefano knows that there's this many carriers on the field on the way. Has he scouted it? I just don't know if he's seen the Stargates. No, he hasn't. They're all right there, completely hidden. They are now here. Remember that carriers can auto-build interceptors, and he does not want to show these carriers for as long as he possibly can. He wants as few Corruptors on the field as possible. 3 more carriers are indeed on the way. And right now, Stefano, though, I think having a good read, keeping these anti-air units just in case there's Void Ray, Phoenix, or, of course, the carrier.
Yeah, now, you know, having some, we do have some more harass coming out here on the middle base on the west side as we will have Zealots take that hatchery down. But here comes the impending doom as he makes his way into the 4th base of his opponent. We've got Infested Terrans going out in the backside in case anything comes down, and he just is not even trying to deflect this attack. I think he knows that he's only going to have one chance to do it, and he's going to try to do that with those carriers.
You do have to remember, though, that even if he holds off this attack, Stefano has like 5,000 resources saved up. Nice storms on the ramp there, able to deal with some of those infestors. But remember that even if these carriers kill this off, that's a lot of carriers, though, I just want to say. That is awesome. But carriers are awfully slow, so Stefano can make a lot of Corruptors for defense.
There are not that many Corruptors left. You had mentioned that he wanted to get as many off the field as he can. There's only 4 out right now as he did morph in a few more Broodlings. He's absolutely going to lose this base, and I guess the bigger question is can this fleet actually do the damage that it needs to do? He's still not wanting to show that this is what's coming out quite yet. But he's going to see it soon enough.
It is 84, now 92 supply to 195. It's going to be so tough for him to actually kill it. He is going to be killing off this expansion here. Stefano's going, oh, this is mono battles now as you just have all carriers here. So he just has to make sure to deal with those. He's probably going to start spamming Corruptors. He has a lot of money to do so. Feedbacks on the Infestors, taking out the majority of them, although he still does have 5 here, but they are extremely low on energy. You can see right there, not even a feedback is enough to kill them off. And right now, Carrier has indeed arrived at this attack.
Yeah, and he's going to go for it. There are some Infested Terrans in the back. They're going to take out a Void Ray first. Second Void Ray goes down, and now the Broodlords will be under assault by these carriers. Look at how quickly they are melting. The Void Ray has only got a little bit of health remaining, 6 hit points, but somehow he's still able to hold it on. Even though the 3rd base has gone down, I feel like there is not much that Squirtle's going to be able to do. I mean, can he really hold on with just 8 carriers and no income at this point?
Yeah, that's the problem, is that Stefano does have 16 Corruptors on the way. He is going to be able to kill off these Broodlords, and a lot of Broodlords indeed that was. Now, he is going to be able to kill off just a couple of Roaches here as well. But DJ Wheat, the problem is that, like we were talking about before, the carriers are so slow, and on top of that, he has no income. So 22 other Corruptors, and you got to remember, are they 3-3 right now? I think they have at least the 3 attack from before. Yes, they are 3-3. So these virtually unupgraded carriers here, it's got to be tough to actually end the game with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now we're getting a little fan service, but that is okay. We do have a Nexus going down as we're going to see Squirtle try to get back into this. The Roaches are burrowed. They can go back to continue to do damage, but he is going to send this fleet over to try to do as much as he can to the economy of his opponent. We don't see like an abnormal amount of Spore Crawlers right now, and what is coming out from Stefano? A ton ton of Infestors and, of course, all the Corruptors now on the field. In fact, oh my gosh, Husky, there are 26 Corruptors ready to do a massive amount of damage to these carriers.
Yeah, I mean, Stefano is just slapping Squirtle in the face with these 3 roaches down here. Going to be unpowering all of these gateways. And I mean, the carriers can't even defend it because they move so slowly. So he is going to have to attack here. And basically what's going to happen is these Corruptors are going to be really pissed. They're also very highly upgraded. But you know what? It's gonna be fun to watch anyway, DJ Wheat.
Oh yeah, it is. He's gonna have so much fungals. He's just gonna be fungling interceptors. But look at that. Both armies go past each other. But here come the Corruptors making a U-turn, try to get the job done. There's a huge fungal on top of those carriers, and look at how quickly they can go down with those volleys.
Yeah, just one volley there, almost literally one shot that carry. Now he did spread out these guys. He doesn't want to take any Storm or Archon damage. And here we go, Squirtle. I think this is going to be it for him here in game number 1, but it is fun, although the carriers are still managing to survive, but that's just because Stefano is playing it very conservative. He wants to use the energy on the Infestors first instead of using the Corruptors' lives. He does look like he is going to go ahead and go for it. He's going to be running in right now. There's the GG, knowing he cannot hold that off. And indeed, the carriers will go down, but I feel like any game that has a carrier in it is a pretty good game indeed.
Okay, by me.
So there's Stefano right there, wondering what just happened in that game.
You know, there's going to be a little bit of the what-if game with Squirtle. I feel like, you know, I love the recall into the main base. Great idea. But he basically backed himself into a corner at that point. And losing all those units, I was with you. I thought he was going to go in, do some significant damage, try to recall out. But he was committed to that battle. Had he lost only a few units and then had the carriers beyond that, I think that could have been really nasty.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because the problem is that we saw when the carriers were out, that was his only supply. He had like 70 supply. And if he would have had an army to back that up, it could have actually done an insane amount of damage there. So I think he got a little excited. He wanted to vortex all 21 of those Brood Lords. And you saw that with just one Archon in there, he does insane damage to those clumped up units. But it does look like